Hi guys, I'm going to show you how to use analog to get a really powerful analog sounding synth. Um, it's a myth that you need expensive plugins to get the kind of sound that you're after. So I'm going to play the sound that I've designed here for you on the keyboard, and then give you an example of how it could sound in the context of a track, and then we'll get into how that's made as well. So it sounds a bit like this. Sounds really powerful, really, and it's not a huge amount of processing, but it sounds really powerful and really analog and just incredibly rich. And this is just from using analog. It's pretty simple stuff. That's the good thing. It is pretty simple stuff, so you can get a lot of it. So let me just change a few things, because I've got this pattern here. And I've got another little beat in the background just for a reference of how this could sound. Okay, so that was just quite rough, obviously, but it was just to show you what you could kind of do with this sound. So this sound is layered, so that's how you get the really powerful sound out of what we're doing. We're using two instances of analog, okay? So a lot of techno these days is using this exact sound, actually, and it's always a combination of, well, triangle waves, square waves, and sine waves, to be honest with you, and a lot of detuning, and that's how you get these sounds. So we'll start off with the first layer. This is the top layer. This is like the lead, and then underneath that we have a bass, and that adds the thickness, and it just gives it that real power. Okay, so let's just start off with this just now. So that's what we've got here. Okay, let's ignore what we've got in terms of the effects. We'll turn them on in a minute. But load in an instance of analog. And for this, what we're going to be using is oscillator 1, we're going to be selecting triangle wave, and oscillator 2, we're using white noise. Okay, but we have to turn this down quite a lot, because it is pretty overpowering, and enable the, let's just hear how this sounds first. So I'll turn everything else off that we've got on. So that's down 2 octaves, remember, here. And then we're adding in some noise, turning it down with a little bit of colour. And then for oscillator 2, you could use different I'm using white noise again because it has a really luscious thickness to it, and it just sounds really great in techno, especially when you add reverb to it. It just responds amazingly. So yeah, that's the two oscillators, that's the two wave types that we're using. Now, to get the detuned sound, I had the semi all the way down -12 semitones, and I had this down at -33 or 37, I think. So as you can hear, so that gets you the basic kind of noise that you're going for. Then you can add on and into this to make it sound really quite interesting. So the next thing is the pitch envelope. I've got it up to 16%. So for me, I just wanted a very subtle effect. Otherwise, it does sound a little bit crazy, so just a little subtle effect of it is really nice. Next thing is we're going to make sure that this is enabled, but this is a slave, and this filter up here, filter 1, will be the global filter. It controls everything. Okay, so that's basically how we want it to respond, and that's our envelope here, which I've left pretty much standard. I'm using drive Sim3. You've got different drives settings. I'm going to use Sim3 purely just because it gives it that bite and drive through the filter that I like. Next thing is the envelope. It's basically the envelope amount. I've just tweaked that ever so slightly. And this thing is quite magical. This is the key. I've got this at 4. Now if you have the frequency cut off down, if you turn this key up to 4, it means you can still hear it punching through. Which I quite like, and that's the kind of thing that I'm going for in this instance. Okay. We can pan it as well if we so wish. But yeah, that's the basic kind of sound that we're going for. Now we want to go and further enhance this sound to get what we want. So I'm using vibrato. Okay, I'm using 54%. Any higher than this and it starts to do that. So you just want a little bit just to warp the sound. Just midway rate setting as well. Okay, now if we go inside here and we have a look at what's happening, there's a couple of things that are very important. You've got voices, and we've also got unison settings. Okay, so we're going to click unison, and we're going to have 100% or 100 detune, and that just gives it that really wide kind of crazy sound. And this is where these unison voices come into play. So as you can hear, it sounds quite thin, but then if you chuck it onto 4, it becomes very very powerful. And that's how you get that really thick analog sound, because it's all about detune at the end of the day, getting that sound. Okay. Other thing that I did was you can actually push this track delay, and it gives it a, and that sounds really cool with the delay effect on afterwards. Okay, so that's the basic sound design of the sound that we're going for inside analog. Okay, next I chucked on an EQ, and I'm using a really big ambient reverb and some ping pong delay, and that's all I'm doing really in terms of processing. So I turn this octave up to -1. Sounds really wide and really powerful, and just generally really nice. And the beauty about this is because you've turned up the key, the harder you press these notes, it'll actually punch through. So now we're getting some really cool sounds, and we can go back in and amend the parameters further if we want to do that. It's entirely up to you what you want to do at this point. For me, I'm quite liking it where it is because it punches through really powerfully, and I like that a lot. Okay, so the second thing you want to do is you can duplicate this again, turn off the other effects, and we're going to cut at 37 because we're going to add a bass. This is basically just the bass version of this, and it's a sine wave. Okay, we've taken off the rest of the stuff that's here. We've still got the vibrato on, we've still got the unison on. We're only using 2 voices this time. And we've got the octave down to 3 with the same pitch envelope. And it gives it a nice character that really couples up well with the other lead. And together these sound incredibly good together. Especially, you know, when you're opening up the cutoff as well, it sounds really good. So you could do this with operator, but personally, I think the sub in this sounds a lot better and are more akin to what we've got. So now what you can do is double these up, arm the record button, and then and I mean that is just full on in your face, you know, that it just sounds incredibly powerful. And who would know, if you were listening to this in a track, you'd think, oh, he must have used a mini Moog, he must have used a Moog or something like that to get that. But no, half the time you can do it inside the box. You just need to understand how these it's all about waveforms, guys, and it's all about detuning. That's how you get these sounds. It's all about pitch. It's all about how you tone things and mix things together to get the big, powerful sounds. So you could, at this point, if you were making quite drum code-esque techno, you could do a stab pattern with this. So the beat goes along and then you're and It's a lot of fun to play with as well once you've got this down. It's just a really dynamic and really fun thing to use. It doesn't take up a lot of CPU either, guys, as well. So I'll leave you with this, and I'll see you next time. Again, if you have any questions about anything I've done, let me know. And if you want me to make a patch for this, like a rack or something like this, that makes it really easy to control this sound via macros, like basically like an instrument within Live, like one of these. I'll do something like that for these kind of sounds, if you like. That's not a problem. So just leave a comment below if you want me to do that. Anyway, guys, any questions, let me know. Keep producing, and I'll see you soon.